A sunny day in June surrounded by friends and family typically results in smiles, laughter, and even a little dancing. However, for those coming together at the Walk Like Mad event, painful memories surfaced as they spoke out against the dangers of drinking and driving.
Thank you, folks.
Each story was unique, but the same lifelong heartache was at the center of them all. A loss of an innocent life because someone chose to drink and drive.
When I talk to other victims, they share some of the same stories, they share the same emotions, where you can go from that raw anger to just the total heartbreak and the missing someone so much.
Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or MADS, State Executive Director and former police officer Sam Canzanari said the perspective surrounding drinking and driving is what needed to change first.
Every decade we get closer.
Back in the 90s, we would still pull people over. They were under the influence. We'd make arrangements to get them home. That day is come and gone.
He cites improvement in recent years, but says there is more work to be done.
Currently, we're at 10,000 fatalities a year right now, which is a marked improvement from what it was in the 80s and in the 90s, but we still have a long way to go.
In 2012, 335 people were killed in Illinois alone by alcohol-related crashes, and 35% of Illinois traffic fatalities were drunk driving related. One change MAD would like to see is a typical sentencing for the offenders. Currently, for a misdemeanor offense,
you're not going to get any jail time. It's usually going to be supervision or probation.
And for a felony,
you're going to see jail time or prison. And the maximum they usually can get is 14 years, and that is rare.
Which may not always feel appropriate for the families of the victims.
It's very hard to look at a family who just lost their loved one and say, you know, this person is going to go to prison for 5 years for killing your family member.
One family in particular is that of Michael Collins, a senior exercise science major at Illinois State University, who tragically died on April 2nd of 2014 from head injuries sustained after his car was hit by a drunk driver. Allie Size, a passenger in the same car as Michael, remembers how great that night started off.
We were at the Illinois State PRSSA semi-formal, a big group of us, and that ended, and we took a party bus downtown just to go downtown, hang out, meet some more friends.
Still, despite their responsible decisions,
Michael called Sam to give us a ride, and I mean, the last thing I remember is scooting in the backseat of her car.
It was the irresponsible choice of another that would change a family's life forever.
There's no normal again in our lives.
Just a young man with a couple of life goals.
One of those goals was to follow Jesus and help others follow Jesus, and his other goal was to make people laugh until the day he died.
And who never fell short in making his family proud.
He was on the honor roll, scholar athlete as well, in high school and college, and he was an awesome kid.
On top of losing a good friend, Size suffered her own injuries from the crash.
I had fractured ribs, whiplash, concussion, busted up nose, stuff like that.
Samantha Nelson, the designated driver of the car Michael was in, also suffered injuries.
I had concussion, I had 9 stitches in my shin. I don't know what I did in my wrist yet, I'm still trying to figure it out. They think I tore a ligament.
And Tawny Ricketts, another passenger who was unable to attend the event, was critically injured.
Tawny had, I believe it's 4 fractures in her pelvis and 2 in her sacrum.
But remarkably, it is through tragedy that a community has prevailed, through one simple hashtag.
One of his friends came up with MC Strong, or I don't know, somebody came up with the idea. They started passing out t-shirts. It just kind of caught on. And then one of his friends posted a Pay It Forward page on Facebook, hashtag MC Strong, and next thing you know, there's 20,000 people that have signed up to pay it forward, and it just sort of took off from there.
Though it is clear that nothing can take the pain away,
there are no words to describe the pain of losing a child.
It helps knowing that Michael would be proud of this movement.
It's wonderful to see, because I think he would love the spirit with all of the spirit with which it's being done, the Pay It Forward.
And to know that with each MC Strong hashtag, Michael's spirit lives on.
It's really helpful about keeping Michael alive, I think, because no one's ever going to forget him with the MC Strong honor that he's been having.
But even though the family finds a way to deal with their loss, the impacts of drinking and driving still remain.
It's an impact that doesn't just affect his mom and dad and his brother, Jimmy, but it's an impact of future family members, future generations will now not exist.
Although technological advancements will certainly help.
There's a day around the corner where an offender will sit in the car and just based on the perspiration on their fingertips, if they're 0.08 or higher, the car just won't start.
In the end, it all comes down to personal choice.
I've had people come up to me and say, oh, I wish the legal limit was 0.00. And I said, but it can be 0.00 for you. You just don't get behind the wheel after you've been drinking. It's all about personal responsibility.
The Walk Like Mad event proved that tragedy teaches some of the harshest lessons. But, as Michael's mom read in a letter from his uncle, learning from these life-changing events is where progress can be found.
I promised to never have one drink and drive again, or get into a vehicle with someone else that has had even one drink. I had seen what that decision could do to families and loved ones. I am sorry it took this tragedy to fully understand and realize firsthand the consequences of wrong decisions people make way too often.
With a person as great as his family described,
Michael was a great kid, 22-year-old. We're very proud of the 22 years that he had on Earth.
And as impossible to capture in words by his closest friends.
Oh boy. I don't even know where to begin with him.
Following through on one more promise in Michael's honor is something we all should consider.
In closing, I would like to just add one more promise. And this time it comes from his mom and dad. Just know, our sweet son Michael, that our family will not put this behind us as we fight for a time where this tragic, senseless act occurs no more. We love you, buddy, and it's MC Strong. Thank you.
Reporting for Good Day to Paul, I'm Jacqueline Driscoll.